Next, we'll be joined by Jeremy Malecha, CEO and co-founder of 𝐁𝐢𝐨𝐬𝐭𝐲. Jeremy has 20 years experience at the intersection of medicine, IT, and software. In recent years, he has been developing and implementing data-driven and cloud-based methods for collection and processing of objective data. Today, he's going to be sharing some thoughts on uncovering key biomarkers for longevity. And just FYI, I do know that Jeremy's work and is included and featured in a new book by Deep Knowledge Group General Partner Dmitry Kaminskiy, which is actually being launched today. So make sure to stick around for the end of today's proceedings as well. Jeremy, thanks so much for being with us again. It's a pleasure to have you. It's yours.
Thank you for the great introduction. So I am Jeremy. I'm the CEO and co-founder of 𝐁𝐢𝐨𝐬𝐭𝐲. I'm going to talk a little bit more aspirational about this idea of building a new integrative medicine marketplace of the future. Integrative medicine also goes by personalized medicine or functional medicine as well. But first I wanted to start off with a question. What does 40 pounds mean to you? 18 kilograms, I think it's about 3 stones. On average, 40 pounds is about the weight of a human leg, a car tire, or 4 cans of paint. But really, why that's important is, I started out in the medical reimbursed space. I've worked in healthcare my whole career up until 𝐁𝐢𝐨𝐬𝐭𝐲, living in the insurance-based industry. I actually ran the global market, so very familiar with the European and Asian markets as well. But during that time, I was seeing my health decline over time. So this was me in 2016. It's always a little odd to put this picture up, but I had reached a peak weight of 240 pounds. For those of you that are obviously well aware, the Framingham study basically said that obesity has the tendency to lead to take on average about 3 years off your life. So I was a health-driven individual. I've been in healthcare. I was doing all the right things. I was working out all the time, eating less, moving more, gluten-free, organic, yet all of my biomarkers were going in the wrong direction. And that was a real challenge. And going into the standard of care, I was left with no real answers. My, fasting blood glucose was subclinical for a diabetic. I was presenting as if I was low T, but the reality was that was not my issue. And thankfully, I was exposed to this idea of integrative medicine or functional medicine or personalized medicine. And what we really uncovered through broad-based metabolic testing was a confluence of different things that were happening with me as an individual. So for me, even though I was gluten-free, I was still consuming a lot of carbohydrates. That was leading to estrogen dominance. My genetics were contributing to a poor detoxification pathway, which was really the source of what was going on. But the problem for me was, if you think about, well, if it's just carbohydrates and that's leading to estrogen dominance, go on a keto diet, the reality was I'm highly reactive to beef. And so without that additional testing, I actually saw no response. But ultimately, when we got to the root of my issue, I had a transformative health experience. I dropped 40 pounds, and at 42, I'm now 44, I'm actually healthier than I was at 22. And that's really because I was able to understand what was going on with me individually at a metabolic level through this broad-based metabolic testing. And so that's the real inspiration for what we're trying to do in terms of catalyzing this new marketplace. And so our vision is to imagine a world where everyone has the knowledge to truly control their own health and what drives it. And really driving this idea of health intelligence. So taking all of the information, the great clinical research that you're going to see on the rest of this conference, and bring it together for authentic, individualized whole person outcomes that are really going to extend longevity and health span. And our vision is to see practitioners build thriving businesses delivering on these solutions based upon root cause and not symptomatic suppression. This is consumer-driven healthcare. And the reason why that's different than reimbursed-based healthcare is that these practitioners not only have to deliver their clinical solutions, help individuals understand their metabolic data, drive the outcomes, but also attract individuals in the consumer marketplace. And we believe that through this, healthcare can be transformed through this power of optimal vitality, consumer-driven advocacy, and a robust practitioner-rich marketplace. And so the opportunity that we're focused on is really building this idea of a new integrative marketplace rooted in the power of health intelligence and consumer advocacy, so society can take back control of their health and wellness in a post-pandemic world. COVID has obviously disrupted everybody across the globe, but one thing that it's really shined a light on is the importance of metabolic health and how important that is to driving to having the negative outcomes. But the question globally, not even just in the US market, is, are we ready for the market? Are consumers actually ready to pay out of pocket and demand better outcomes outside of the standard of care? And every indication pre-pandemic was it was already there. So integrative medicine in the US alone is an $89 billion market. People are seeking this out in growing numbers. And this is really accelerating even in a post-pandemic world. I think we're here to stay, that people really want solutions to drive optimal health and vitality. As most people on the call are probably aware, Vinod is one of the most prolific VC investors. And he had this great quote that we really need to focus on eliminating symptom-based medicine as a key goal for 2030. And this idea that you shouldn't have to start losing your memory before you're diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And so for me, in my case, it was I shouldn't have to be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes before I'm given the right tools and actions to drive a better health outcome and better longevity for me. And if you're not aware, the healthcare investment industry is already there. The top two of the top three investment areas saw $7 billion in investment in 2020. This is only going to accelerate. But the problems with some of the previous presenters already identified is that the market has a number of challenges. On the health intelligence side, we have a number of multiple data sources across a bunch of fragmented systems. There's a complex interfaces, constant evolution of new technology, new research, and new things to be able to look at. On the consumer side, there's a lack of education about the opportunity for personalized medicine. There's a perceived approach that this is going to be very costly to really understand myself in an individual level. Therefore, I'm going to stay reliant upon the current care system. And also, I'm afraid of investing, $1,000 in testing or $2,000 in an out-of-pocket engagement because I don't know if it's really going to drive the outcomes I'm looking for. And really, on the practitioner side, again, these practitioners are focused on consumer out-of-pocket, so they both have to have the clinical expertise, but also the business and marketing expertise. Their businesses are fraught with inefficiency and struggling with communication and really split across chaotic delivery systems. And so our focus here is really to catalyze this idea of a new marketplace. And the reason where this comes from is there is one rule that you'll see probably over and over again about health and longevity. And that dependable rule is that it depends. It depends on your genetics, it depends on your diet, depends on your lifestyle. And really the only rule for each individual is that they have to have the health intelligence to uncover the real insights to drive optimal health and longevity. You could take the exact same person and put them in two different environments and have two completely different outcomes. One person living healthy outside, getting plenty of vitamin D. Well, that same twin lives in a toxic home filled with black mold. That's really why it's so important to have this idea of health intelligence for each individual. So, why has this not happened before? Well, we've always been trapped in this idea of double-blind placebo-controlled trials. This is great for a new pharmaceutical or a new thing that doesn't exist in an individual today. So you can test whether the effect is meaningful or significant. The problem with personalized health and wellness is it's really hard to tease out the complex web of interactions. And because of this, integrative medicine and personalized medicine has really struggled to demonstrate positive outcomes because of the nuances in the data. When you think about dietary interventions, food sensitivities, microbiome, hormone, blood chemistry, the nuances in the data set make it impossible to sufficiently power a trial to have it be able to be demonstrated in this way. But what we're seeing is this massive explosion in consumer-driven health and services. But this data is siloed in wearables, apps, patient portals. If you're in the US market, you're probably familiar with this idea of direct at-home testing, where people are now taking, you can walk into a department store and you can buy an at-home hormone test. The problem is that data, what do you do with it, right? If my hormones are messed up, where do I go with that? I can't go back to my standard of care physician. I really need to find that insight as to what actions I need to take. And the chaos in the delivery systems really affects a practitioner's ability to find and gather those insights at an individual. But cloud-based systems can really unlock the data. And so starting, with, this first aspect of health intelligence. So what is health intelligence? It's the idea of taking everything from intake assessments all the way through outcomes. It unifies this disparate data, drives engagement, and revolutionizes the patient experience. One of the biggest problems with personalized medicine is these are often multifaceted programs, which can be overwhelming for an individual. And when they're overwhelmed, they don't try it. And this again causes reasons why integrated medicine has had a hard time demonstrating outcomes. So where are we going? One, we're building a new data model, unifying the industry across a common platform. We obviously want to leverage technologies to uncover the markers and interventions that are going to drive the appropriate outcomes at the individual level. And we can do this through AI and machine learning, but we have to accumulate a sufficient amount of data in order to truly unlock health intelligence. So where are we as a company? Today, we are a technology platform focused on practitioners and improving not only their onboarding time, their efficiency, their ability to see the data, but we're also aggregating this information to help unlock insights to further speed and scale their practice. And through our automation, we're able to drive maximum outcomes because we help them scale each individual's tailored program to drive the right outcome. And we do that through establishing a foundational ecosystem of partners. So we do that, we integrate the wearable data or a Fitbit, just to name a few, but we're agnostic to lab testing companies. So we allow practitioners to use any lab that they want to use as a part of their personalized program design. So we partner with companies like microbiome companies, advanced hormone testing, mycotoxin, environmental toxicity, food sensitivity, and we're able to bring that all together. We also partner with supplement dispensaries and manufacturers to help them really optimize what the dosage information is. We collect self-reported data, we integrate with CRMs and practice management, and we also partner with our dietary tracking company so that we can bring the insight into the platform for an individual practitioner. And so this is really what our dashboard looks like today, and this is how we kind of view the ecosystem. So what we do is we're a technology layer across all of these great products and services, and we help surface the insights for the practitioner and the individual to see what's going on. Ultimately, this is where we have the opportunity to layer in AI and ML to surface insights. So doing things like phenotypic recommendations, things such as, hey, did you know individuals like Jeremy had a response to, a greater than 70% positive response to a low FODMAP diet intervention based upon their microbiome and hormone health markers. And so our vision for practitioner viability really comes down to really driving a positive health journey, saving vital time and money, and helping them to scale and see more individual patients, which helps get this into the mainstream. So our future vision for practitioners is this idea that health intelligence, it helps them no longer be drowning in data and inefficient use of time. They can now focus on the most important markers for an individual to really tailor those recommendations. They're able to learn faster and be efficient and see more patients seeing more positive outcomes. Not only do they personally fulfill, but they do better financially. And it really helps them effectively drive market growth because it drives more and more interest in bringing stronger and stronger clinicians into the industry. From a consumer advocacy perspective, this is really where the transformation has to occur at the consumer level. And it's really about learning a whole new way of living and finding their powerful voice to take back control in this idea of a post-pandemic world. And one of the things, one of the resistance points that we kind of come to when we have a lot of these conversations is this idea that, it's additional spend. Consumers today are wasting money. They're actually spending about $4 trillion annually on perceived health solutions. It's really about taking this trial and error approach and focusing the spend on what's going to drive the outcomes for the individual. And we also are stuck in this idea of a one-size-fits-all approach. Just because my friend did well on a keto diet doesn't mean I'm going to do well on a keto. Maybe I need to be vegan. Maybe I have a massive amount of food sensitivity. So it's actually going to drive my inflammation markers in the wrong direction. We're also addicted to things like gyms, supplements for wearables, fad diets, and cleanses, but 99% of these trends fail to deliver on any lasting outcomes. And so really what we're talking about is giving individuals a starting point. So the true starting point about what I need to do tomorrow to improve my health is going to be an individually tailored program. So it doesn't really need to cost thousands of dollars. When people think about all the money that they're spending on that gym membership, the extra wearables, the supplements in a cupboard, gathering dust, you can actually spend less money to be more effective without this cycle of trial and error. And the holistic assessment can really show the path to each individual's own 40-pound goal. Obviously, that was important for me, but thinking about somebody, in their 70s who wants to spend more time to be able to run around with their grandkids, what does that look like? How do I get through the pain, the constant back pain without having to suppress everything through, painkiller medications? And so as health intelligence emerges, the cost of health is going to come down and longevity is going to increase. And so what we're doing is we're really trying to build an ecosystem of partners. And so our focus is really this idea of becoming a catalyst to all of the companies, all of the like-minded individuals and practitioners, and help bring this industry into the standard of care. I had the pleasure of working at ResMed, which is the leading obstructive sleep apnea company. And this was a quote that Dr. Farrell, the founder of ResMed, used to say early on in obstructive sleep apnea. He would be on investor calls and he would say, they would ask him his questions about his competitor, his new features and benefits. And his comment always was, our primary competitor is ignorance. And to all the technology people on this call and the practitioners and the like-minded individuals, really our competitor is ignorance. The ability to really bring all of this insight, this understanding into the mainstream is a massive opportunity for everyone. It's a win-win-win across the board. Not only are we able to transform the healthcare industry from a financial perspective, but we're driving better health and longevity for each individual. We're going to take cost out of the system and we're going to drive better outcomes for each individual. So today we have a page set up for anybody that would like to follow us, join us at biocanic.com/catalyst, just sign up. I promise we won't spam you. But what we're really trying to do is bring together the industry for a common goal. And really start to work together to leverage all of this data to really uncover the insights that are going to drive longevity and overall health improvements in the long term. So again, I'll pop that in the chat after this, but it's biocanic.com/catalyst. We're really looking for partners, other companies that really want to kind of really accelerate this and are really looking forward to the future. And so with that, that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Insightful, refreshing, and catalytic as always. Great to have you back here. And
Awesome.
For anybody who has additional questions about Jeremy's work and Biocanix, please feel free to pop those into the Q&A. We'll try to cover as many of them as possible in the all-speaker panel discussion later today.